My stepson told me I should stay out of his college choices since I'm not his parent, so I stayed out of tuition, housing, and his emergency card. 2 weeks later, he called me dad. Again. My stepson told me I should stay out of his college choices since I'm not his parent, so I stayed out of tuition, housing, and his emergency credit card. 1 week later, he called me dad again. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reddit Visuals. You know, it's strange how people can look you in the eye, eat your food, live under your roof, and still forget who built the ground they're standing on. I used to think family was about love and effort. Turns out it's about timing, money, and who picks up the phone when everything falls apart. I'm 45, married to my wife Laura for 13 years. When I met her, she came with a 5-year-old boy named Ryan. His biological father, Chris, left when Ryan was 2, vanished like smoke, popping up every few years with a birthday card or vague promises of catching up soon. When I stepped into Ryan's life, I wasn't trying to replace anyone. I just showed up. School pickups, scraped knees, parent-teacher conferences, baseball games in the rain. For years, it was good. Really good. Ryan and I clicked. He started calling me dad on his own around age 9. We were building a Lego set together, and he just said it naturally. Dad, pass me that piece. I pretended not to react, but that word settled in my chest and stayed there. But somewhere around age 16, everything shifted. He started pulling away, rolling his eyes at my advice, brushing off everything I said, acting like my presence was background noise. I told myself it was just teenage rebellion. Except it wasn't just hormones. It was his biological father reappearing, like clockwork, the moment Ryan started thinking about college. Chris suddenly wanted to be involved. He'd send Ryan links to flashy schools, talk about legacy, brag about his college glory days like he hadn't missed a decade of birthdays. And Ryan? He ate it up. Every word. Suddenly, I was the stepdad who tried too hard, and Chris was the cool dad who got it. One evening, we were at dinner going over college applications. Laura was researching tuition payment plans, and I was talking about scholarship deadlines when Ryan cut me off, his tone sharp and cold. Why are you even involved in this? It's my life. You're not my real parent. Silence. Just brutal silence. Laura's fork froze halfway to her mouth. I stared at him, waiting for him to take it back. He didn't. You have no say in this, he continued. Chris is helping me figure it out. You should just stay out of it. I didn't yell, didn't lecture. I just said, okay, noted, cleared my plate, and left the room. Laura tried to fix it that night. He didn't mean it, honey. He's confused. He's caught between you and Chris. But something in me, that quiet, exhausted part that had swallowed years of disrespect, finally broke. I'd made my decision. If I wasn't his parent, I wouldn't act like one. 2 days later, Ryan got his acceptance letter from State University. Great engineering program, not too far from home. Laura cried happy tears. I congratulated him genuinely. Then, quietly, I withdrew the tuition deposit I'd already paid. I canceled the housing reservation. I removed him as an authorized user on my credit card, the one I'd given him for emergencies with a $2,000 limit. No yelling, no lectures, just action. A week later, Ryan came home waving his acceptance packet, completely oblivious. Dad, they said if my housing deposit clears by Friday, I get first choice of dorms. I looked up from my laptop. That's great. You should check with your father about getting that sorted. His smile died. What? You said I'm not your parent. So Chris should be handling it, right? Wait, you're not serious. I'm completely serious. Laura's coffee cup hit the counter. Mark, I held up a hand. This isn't punishment. It's clarity. He told me to stay out of his college choices. I'm respecting that. Parents pay for tuition and housing. I'm just the guy who stayed out of it. Ryan's face went from confusion to panic. You canceled my deposit? I withdrew my deposit. You're 18 now. You can submit your own. He stormed off and slammed his bedroom door. For the next 3 days, the house was tense, whispers, slammed cabinets, cold silence. He tried acting like it didn't bother him, but I saw the cracks forming. College isn't just a dream. It's logistics, deadlines, and money most 18-year-olds don't have. Then came the breaking point. Laura got a call one evening while cooking. I watched her face shift from calm to pale shock. She hung up slowly. "That was Ryan," she said quietly. "He finally called Chris to ask about tuition. Chris told him he can't help, said he's broke." Broke. The man who'd been posting photos from Cancun and showing off his new boat told his son he's broke. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. For 3 more days, Ryan avoided me, but I knew reality was sinking in. The knock on my office door came late one night, past 11. I opened it. He stood there, eyes red, shoulders slumped. "Can we talk?" "Sure." I stepped aside. He sat on the edge of my desk, struggling to find words. "I messed up. I didn't mean what I said at dinner. You've done more for me than he ever has. He made me feel like I was missing something, you know? Like I needed to prove I had a real dad." He swallowed hard. But when I called him for help, he said, "That's your mom's husband's job." Then he hung up. There it was, the moment the fantasy hit reality. I didn't gloat. I just asked, "So, what do you want from me, Ryan?" He looked at me, really looked at me, and his voice cracked. "I want you to be my dad again." That hit harder than I expected, but I wasn't letting him off easy. You don't get to call someone dad because it's convenient. It's a commitment. You can't throw it away and pick it back up when bills arrive. Tears filled his eyes. "I know. I get it now. I really do." I believed him. Not completely, but enough to see something had shifted. That rare flash of humility teenagers hardly ever show. The next day, we sat down as a family. I told him I'd help, but with conditions. I'd cover tuition and housing, but he had to contribute. He'd pay for his own books and part of his meal plan through a part-time job. No more free rides. No more taking things for granted. He agreed immediately. For the first time in months, we felt like a team again. A few weeks later, I drove him to campus. The car was quiet, but it was a good quiet, the kind where peace replaces resentment. Before he got out, he turned to me. "Thanks, Dad." Not an apology, acknowledgement. And that meant more than any check I'd ever written. But here's where it gets interesting. About 6 weeks into his first semester, my phone rang at 10 p.m. Ryan's name on the screen. "Dad, I need help." His voice was shaking. "I got into an accident. Not my fault. Someone rear-ended me at a red light. The cops are here and they're asking for my insurance and emergency contact. I gave them your number." My first instinct was to say, "Not my problem." But I remembered what I'd told him about commitment, how it doesn't work on a timer. "Put the officer on," I said. "Sir, your son is fine," the officer said. "Minor fender bender. We just need to verify insurance and emergency contact information." Your son. The irony wasn't lost on me. The kid who said I wasn't his parent was now listed as my son by everyone who mattered. Insurance, school, police. Not because of blood, but because I was the one who'd shown up. Later that week, Ryan came home for the weekend. He was quieter, different. He handed me a folded envelope. Inside was a check for $300. "What's this?" I asked. "Reimbursement. For my books. You said I'd cover them. I got a job at the campus bookstore. This is my first paycheck." I stared at that check. It wasn't about the money. It was about him finally understanding what responsibility looks like. "Keep it," I said. "Put it toward next semester's books." He shook his head. "No. You said I had to contribute. I'm contributing." That's when I knew. The lesson had stuck. Now, months later, things are different. He calls not for money, but to ask advice. He texts photos from campus. Every time he ends a call with, "Love you, Dad," it still catches me off guard in the best way. Because I know how close we came to losing it. Not from anger or distance, but from pride. Pride convinces you you're right, until you're completely alone. Laura told me later she'd been terrified I was giving up on him. "I thought you were going to let him fail," she said. I told her the truth. I wasn't letting him fail. I was letting him see the difference between the dad who makes promises and the dad who keeps them. Chris, by the way, still sends the occasional text to Ryan. Happy birthday messages, vague, we should grab lunch. Promises that never materialize. Ryan responds politely but briefly. He told me recently, I finally get it. He's my father, but you're my dad. There's a difference. And that right there, that's worth every canceled deposit, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt. So here's my question for you. Was I wrong to step back when he told me to? Should I have kept paying regardless, or did he need to learn what being a parent really means? Let me know in the comments what you think. What would you have done if your kid told you to stay out of their life? If this story resonated with you, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. It helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you real stories that make you think, feel, and maybe see your own family a little differently. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.